G'day everybody, this is part 3 of the Tin Associated B5M build series. Part 3, what we will be doing is assembly of the steering. Well, it's kind of a continuation of the steering, where we'll be doing steering knuckle, C-hub and attaching it to the suspension arm. Now, like I said to you in the previous video, if there are multiple of the same thing that to build, I will build one off camera or more, and then do the one of them on camera. So what I've done here, as you can obviously see, I've done this. This is what we'll be doing, and then in the next video we'll be attaching these to the chassis and also attaching shock towers. But before that, we have to get on with this. So what we'll need is the parts necessary. Now there's a lot of tuning options, or tunability with this kit. Over here you'll see these are parts, extra parts that aren't used. So if you want to adjust your suspension setup, you use these. But for now, these parts here are what we'll be using. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll start off with the steering knuckle. Now we have these little inserts for the bearings. Now if you notice, probably can't see too well, but you can see it's got like the hole isn't centered, it's kind of offset. Now as I said, I'll be building this to the kit specification, so we need to make sure that give me a second folks, I've had a brain fart. Make sure that the parts are in the correct position. So you'll see that they are marked with arrows, and we want to go like that. Put this one in, follow the same, the opposite side. Of course it's going to fight me in, isn't it? You might find this section to be a little bit fiddly. There we go. Like a glove. Okay, put the bearings in. There's like a little spacer here. Probably can't see it. That just goes in between the two bearings, so when you put the axle through, it doesn't cause the bearings to bind. Alright, so now put the axle through. And there we go. Now what we need now is a little bit of thread lock. Just a little bit. Don't want it to get onto the bearings. And put the screw in. Now here's a little trick. If you want this to be tight, this is just an ordinary touring car wheel. Just pop it in there. Just give me a sec folks. Get it into the hex. That way the wheel is something for you to hold on to. And so now you can tighten it. Just a little tip for you. Just put that there now, we don't need that anymore. Make sure it spins nicely so there's no binding. Okay. Just put that over there for the time being. We won't need that anymore. Alright, now, next part is for the bolt stud. And we need a little nylock nut. So we don't need thread lock for this section here. Put the nylock nut in. It's a little countersunk hole, so it fits in like that. And just turn it in. Pretty straightforward. You don't have to do it super tight, but do it fairly tight, so obviously when you're racing, doesn't come undone on you and you can't finish the race. Trust me, that has happened once before. Alright, so now that's that part done, we move over to this. Now we put in, this is a caster block insert, just slides in to here. Alright, the optional one, probably can't tell, it's hard to tell, but the same sort of deal. The hole for which the suspension shaft goes through, the hole's offset, so it just gives you a different tunability. Alright, so that's that section. Now we get our another nylock nut and put it on the inner hole. So not everything wants to play ball today. Okay, same thing again. Just so it's tight. Alright. Okay, so now, that's that done. What we need now is our two spacers. Go in here. Alright, now take note of the orientation of the suspension settings. Okay. Put the screws in. Same again with this side. Alright, so that's that bit done. Now we go to the suspension arm. As always, like a broken record, take note of the orientation of the suspension arm. We have a spacer here that goes behind the C-hub. We'll get a little shaft here, insert it in. Okay, now the final part, need a 1.5mm driver, and this is it's a bit of a carryover from the B4. Just puts it into the suspension arm here, and what that does is it stops the pin from coming out. Okay, so that's our right and left front suspension arms. Stay tuned for part 4, where we go on to back to the chassis, attaching the suspension arms and attaching the shock tower as well. Stay tuned, folks.